Hi everyone, it's me, Teacher Angel, and I will be your math teacher for today. So our first topic for today will be all about long division method for polynomials. Since we are talking about division of polynomials, so which means we will be getting the quotient of the polynomials given. So we have here a sample problem: x to the power of 5 minus 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 9 divided by x cubed plus 3. In dividing polynomials, we are just like dividing numbers. So we will be placing the dividend inside the division symbol, and then the divisor will be outside the division symbol. So as what we can see, we put x to the power of 5 minus 2x cubed plus 5x minus 9 inside the division symbol because that is our dividend. And then our divisor, which is x cubed plus 3, is placed outside the division symbol. The main goal in dividing polynomials is to eliminate the first term of the dividend. We will not really focus on the next terms because we will only be focusing on our first terms. As what you can see on the screen, x to the power of 5 is our first term for the dividend, while x cubed is the first term for our divisor. So we will only focus to these terms first before we proceed to the next terms. In dividing terms, we will only divide first the coefficients, and then after is we just copy the variable and subtract their exponents. Take note that the answers above should be placed aligned to the term that we are simplifying. So starting with x to the power of 5 and to x cube, so all we have to do is just to subtract their exponents. 5 minus 3 is equals to 2, so that's why x squared, x is placed above x to the power of 5. So that will be our first term for our quotient. Then we will multiply the quotient x squared to our divisor x cubed plus 3, like what we are doing when we divide numbers or whole number. So we will distribute x squared first to x cubed, so that is equals to x to the power of 5, because when we multiply the same variable, we just have to add their exponent. So 3 plus 2 is equals to 5, so that's why x to the power of 5. And then x squared times positive 3 is equals to positive 3x squared. So we just have to align them to our dividend so we can simplify it later on. Now that we already have the product of x squared multiplied to our divisor, which is x cubed plus 3, so we will now subtract the product from our dividend. Before subtracting, we should always remember or recall that when we subtract polynomials, the subtrahend or the polynomials below will change all of its signs to its opposite because we will be distributing the negative or the minus sign to each term in your subtrahend. Like what is shown on your screen, the positive x to the power of 5 is already negative, and your positive 3x squared will now be negative as well because we changed all of their signs from positive to negative because we distributed the minus or the negative to each term, the x to the power of 5 and 3x squared. Now that we have changed the signs of our subtrahend already, so we will now be subtracting. X to the power of 5 minus x to the power of 5 is equals to 0 because they have the same quantity or the same value. If we subtract the same value, the answer is always 0. So that's why we just cancel it out. And what remains is just our negative 3x squared. Now that only negative 3x squared remains, so each time we will simplify, we have to bring down the next terms of the dividend. So since we're done with x to the power of 5, so the next term is negative 2x cubed. So we will bring down that term together with negative 3x squared. So we have to arrange the exponent. So the term with the higher exponent will come first. So that will be negative 2x cubed followed by negative 3x squared. So it will be negative 2x cubed minus 3x squared. Each time we simplify, we will be doing the same process like what we did from the start. So again, we will focus dividing on the first terms. So negative 2x cubed divided by x cubed. So again, we will divide first the coefficient. Negative 2 divided by the coefficient of x cubed, which is 1. So that is just negative 2. So we put negative 2 above negative 2x cubed. And then we divide x cubed divided by x cubed is just equals to 1. Because when you divide the same quantity or the same value, the answer is always 1. So which means negative 2x cubed divided by x cubed is just equals to negative 2. And then the same method, after we get the quotient of the new simplified answer, so we will multiply it to our divisor. So negative 2 times our divisor x cubed plus 3. So we will be distributing negative 2 to each term in the divisor. So starting off, negative 2 times x cubed is equals to negative 2x cubed. And then negative 2 times positive 3 is equals to negative 6. So we still align it to our last simplified form in the dividend. And then we subtract. So negative 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus negative 2x cubed minus 6. Again, before we subtract, we have to change first the signs of our subtrahend to its opposite sign. So our negative 2x cubed will now become positive, as well as our negative 6 will now become positive 6. After changing the signs to all the terms in our subtrahend, so we will now disregard the minus sign in between the minuend and the subtrahend. Now, let's simplify. Negative 2x cubed and positive 2x cubed. So, they have different signs. So, we subtract them. And if we subtract the same quantity or the same value, the answer is always 0. So, that's why we just cancel it out. So, what remains are negative 3x squared and positive 6. So, we bring that down since they are unlike terms. So, negative 3x squared plus 6. And then, like what I said earlier, that each time we simplify, we have to bring down the next term in our dividend that is not yet bring down. So we are done with negative 2x cubed. So we will now be at positive 5x. So we'll bring down 5x together with negative 3x squared and 6. Before we divide again or before we proceed, let us remember first the rules in dividing. So when we are dividing whole numbers, the dividend should have a greater value than our divisor, which means that the number inside the division symbol should have a greater value than the divisor for us to divide. Because if it has a lesser value or dividend is less than our divisor, so it cannot be, or we cannot divide that one because it will have a decimal quotient or decimal answer. For polynomials, if it has variables involved already, the variable or the exponent of the variable of the dividend should be greater than the exponent of the variable of our divisor. So which means that the dividend should carry greater than exponent of the variable than the exponent of our divisor for us to divide. Because if your dividend or the exponent of the variable of your dividend is less than the exponent of our divisor, so we cannot divide that one, and that will become the remainder. Like in this next step, so negative 3x squared divided by x cubed. So our dividend here is the negative 3x squared while our divisor is x cubed. So the exponent of the variable of our dividend is 2 and the exponent of our divisor or the variable of our divisor is 3. So which means that the dividend carries lesser exponent of the variable than the divisor. So this simply implies that we cannot proceed already with the division, and that will remain as the remainder because the exponent of the variable of the dividend is less than the exponent of the variable of our divisor. If it cannot be and we cannot proceed with the division, so all we have to do is just to bring down all of the terms that are left in our dividend or given dividend. So in this example, so we already bring down x5 and negative 2x cubed and also positive 5x. And only negative 9 remains, so we have to put it down or bring that down together with negative 3x squared plus 6 plus 5x because that will be our remainder. The remainder should also be in its simplest form, or all of the like terms should be combined. So in this case, negative 3x squared plus 6 plus 5x minus 9. So we can see that we have constants, positive 6 and negative 9. So we have to combine it first before we simplify the quotient of these polynomials. Before we combine those like terms, let us arrange first the polynomial from the term with the highest exponent of the variable to the constant. So starting off with negative 3x squared, then plus 5x minus 9 plus 6. After arranging them, so we will combine already negative 9 plus 6. So that is equals to negative 3. So your final answer in the remainder, or the simplified form of the remainder, is negative 3x squared plus 5x minus 3. But as what we can see, our first term carries a negative sign, which is negative 3x squared. And a rule in remainders, your first term should be positive. So to make this positive, we will be factoring out the negative sign so that our first term will carry a positive sign. So we will factor out the negative sign. If we factor out the negative sign, all of the signs on each term will change to its opposite sign. So the positive will become negative and the negative will become positive. So that's why, as what being shown on your screen, when we factor out the negative, all of the terms inside the parentheses is changed to its opposite sign. Your 3x squared is already positive, the 5x is negative, and then the 3 is already positive. Now that our remainder is in its simplest form, so we will now write the final answer. So starting off with the quotient that is found above the division symbol, that is x squared minus 2, and then followed by the remainder. If the remainder carries a negative sign, so you will put it as minus, then the remainder. But if that is positive, or it doesn't have any sign on the remainder, so that will just be plus. So in this case, since our remainder carries a negative sign, when we factor it out, so our remainder will be subtracted. So minus our remainder 3x squared minus 5x plus 3 over our divisor, which is x cubed plus 3. So this means that x to the power of 5 minus 2x cubed plus 5x minus 9 divided by x cubed plus 3 is equals to x squared minus 2 minus 3x squared minus 5x plus 3 over x cubed plus 3. So that's all for long division. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have comments or next lesson that you want me to have a tutorial, you can comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. Thank you, and see you on my next math tutorial video.